Alright guys, welcome back to the MLG stream covering the ATC match of Acer versus Empire. I'm here joined by Graham Rogers, and we kind of jumped in really quick last time. Of course, we didn't have too much time, but now that it looks like we still got about a minute or two before Empire/Ensei decides who they're going to put in. Why don't you talk about where you're from? I know you do mostly work on Base Trade TV, but just why don't you explain to viewers who may not have seen as much Base Trade TV exactly what you guys do there.
Basically our goal is to be like the best basement community casters out there. We don't have a big studio and we don't make a lot of bucks, but what we do is take pretty much all the ad revenue, all the donations we've made from the channel thus far have gone into creating new events. We recently had a StarCraft 2 Survivor Series. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not. It's completely finished at this point, sadly, but that was a lot of fun. We managed to actually raise close to a little over $1,000 for it. Mostly just done through the community. So in all sense, we really do embrace the word community. But yeah, we cast StarCraft 2. We built it from scratch like a year ago. It's been a blast. It's a lot of fun. We've had the pleasure of casting the Acer TeamStory Cup. I'm apparently now here on MLG, which is really cool. We did Red Bull qualifiers recently. There's a lot that we do, basically. If you want StarCraft 2, you can come check us out. But I'm not going to overly pimp the channel for now, because I'd rather impress you guys with my casting first and then have you come find me later.
Yep. But a lot of cool stuff goes on there. So it looks like we may have to switch servers. I'm not sure. Because of course, the way it works is because Scarlett is playing. I think right now she's living in the Americas, I believe. And of course, this match, I think we're currently on the European server. So the past match was on a server that favored Empire/Ensei. And so we may switch over to the Americas server, so it's on Scarlett's server for game 2.
Cass is not happy about this, but he never is.
it's the way it works, right? Scarlett had to play on Europe last game, right? So it balances out, right?
Well, I'm not sure the specifics of it, but they do have a rule where it's like defender gets the server advantage or something, I believe. Like if your team is the one that's up, you get the server preference. But it's been different because Invictus Gaming wasn't afforded that same opportunity to play on the Taiwan/Korea server, so I'm not sure the specifics of it. But I've heard that that's the case.
Okay. So Scarlett would be the defender then, in that case.
Yeah, so that would make sense to be on NA.
Yep. So we'll see. I'm just going to wait until Koss goes there, because...
Oh, maybe it's not Koss. Yeah, BratOk's in the lobby.
Oh, BratOk's there. Okay, I got to switch over really quick then. For some reason, I was looking at Koss. So it's going to be BratOk will be playing in here. Which I'm trying to think of, Happy... I'm trying to think of who. I think they want to save Happy for either MMA or Innovation, because Happy I know has a really strong TVT. I think that may be his. I mean, he's obviously great at everything, but I think TVT may be his specialty. I haven't seen BratOk play for a little while, so it could be he's out of all their Terrans, he has the strongest TVT, and that's why they're using him against Scarlett. That is going to be our second map, is BratOk against Scarlett on Derelict Watcher. Of course, Derelict Watcher, a fairly open map. A lot of opportunities to kind of just engage, at least for the Zerg. There's a lot of great engagements in the middle.
Yeah.
For the Terran, this is actually, I think this is a pretty good map.
I think this is an incredibly epic map for this matchup, but...
Yeah. Well, let's do the player introductions really quick. In the upper right-hand location, his team is down 0-1, but he is looking to equalize that. The blue Terran, BratOk.
And of course, his opponent, probably closely related to the Queen of Blades, it's none other than the Team Acer player, Scarlett. But yeah, I really like this map for engagements because, on one hand, yes, there's a lot of really open space in the center parts of the map, and it's really fun for a Zerg player to dart around, but you look at the bases, they're so spread out, they're not so close-knit. It's quite easy for BratOk to get in there with drops, to start splitting up the map. I mean, at the same time that it's open, you've got all these sort of chokes at these ramps. You can put Widow Mines down. It's fantastic for Terran as well as for Zerg. And while personally TVP is my favorite matchup at the moment, this map, in my opinion, is probably the best and has produced the most epic TVZs that I've seen to date.
You're having a lot of amazing TVZ matchups here. And one thing in particular I've noticed a lot in TVZ, actually Polt had an insane one against Biol, I think, from WCS America finals on this one in particular. But one thing I noticed a lot on this map is when the Zerg takes their 4th base, which for Scarlett will be to the right of her main, it's often very hard for Zerg to get the creep really spread up on top of that ramp. So as soon as Terran can kill those rocks that kind of lead to the fourth on the right side, there's often this like never-ending push that kind of where the Terran has the top of the ramp and the Zerg has the bottom, and it can be an awkward spot for Zerg to defend. But with Scarlett's creep spread, if she can get creep past that point, that would make a huge difference, and maybe she can even hold the high ground.
I like that you said "if" in referring to her creep spread, because I mean, let's be honest, Zach Slav, it's Scarlett.
It is Scarlett, yes. Sometimes I forget who I'm talking about.
Any other Zerg player, I think that "if" stands strong, but
yeah,
as we saw in Game 1, if there's one player's on top of her creep spread, it's certainly Scarlett. But Reaper going to be coming out here for BratOk. I'm just curious, because what's your opinion on Reapers? I kind of feel like they're starting to fall out of this matchup in every except TVZ.
Yeah, I mean, you see them pop up occasionally. It's typically like when there's like a really top premium player playing someone they don't know, they're gonna almost always go Reaper just for the extra safety with the scouting and everything. But in a matchup like BratOk and Scarlett, they both know each other. They're both, very competitive. We are seeing it kind of lose favor in TVP and TVT. There was a time when TVT was big, and now it's pretty rare to see it in TVT. But TVZ, it's like you can never be behind in Reaper expansion.
Nope.
And the Zerg can't really take a fast third. So, did I lose you?
I don't know what's going on. I can't hear anything. If you can hear me,
I can still hear you. Oh, you can't hear me. Wait, are you back now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, your screen froze for a second as well. So maybe there's just internet hiccup with Zoom probably. But remember, guys, technology is the vehicle of esports.
Yeah, well, this Reaper actually has obtained no kills so far. Has gotten a couple drones really low, and the Lings are going to try and chase it out. But Scarlett obviously not overreacting to this by any means. 4 Lings is all you need to hold off this Reaper. Some players will even make the additional 2 because the command center always comes down behind this. Just going to stay at home for the time being is Scarlett.
Yeah, of course, she's going to spot that command center, like you said. I think she already knew it was pretty much coming down, but always good to be 100% sure instead of just 99. And you know what's interesting is similar to, I think it was, I want to say it was Bly against Daishi, where a lot of Zergs like to get a gas pretty fast as soon as they realize it's Reapers. But Scarlett, similar to what Bly is doing, waited to 45 supplies, then getting 2 gas. So there's not going to be really fast beatings. She's going to get extra queens early on, and the queens are going to be the answer to the Reapers.
But excellent, look at this cute little push coming into the middle of the map. 4 Marines to come with this Reaper. I don't know if he'll wait for the Hellions, but with a low Ling account on the field and only really queens to defend, Scarlett might actually be in for a bit of trouble. Gonna lose some Overlords for certain here in the middle of the map. Not something you want to give away for free this early in the game.
Yeah, that's big. In fact, she's gonna lose the second one as well. The queens are trying to come off creep to help. It's kind of a risky move, but with 2 queens against only 4 Marines, I think, in fact, the Marines are not going for the Overlord anymore. They're now going for the queen. But with a couple of Zerglings to back them up, yeah, she did lose 1 Overlord, so it was still a very good push.
It had the potential to be a little more dangerous than it was, but yeah, some good reaction out of Scarlett. Even just pulling the queens off creep is no fun, but sometimes absolutely necessary, and looks like she'll be taking her 3rd behind this. However, BratOk is gearing up. He's got those 4 Hellions coming across the field, and while there's not 2 Reapers to buffer for them, there's not a lot of Lings to get that surround off. If he can somehow sneak past these queens, he will kill a lot of drones.
Scarlett wants to take that 3rd hatchery. Now, she needs to put that down soon because it does... Okay, good. She put the hatchery down now. Of course, the Hellions can't really cancel the hatchery, but they could have killed the drone and then prevented other drones from getting there. So, I think she may be okay here.
The forward Spore Crawler is something I find incredibly interesting. Perhaps a little bit worried of a Banshee follow-up, and that's exactly what's going to be coming here out of BratOk. Cloak as well.
Yeah,
this is some... Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, this is something that's kind of getting recycled. I've seen QXE do this most recently of all people, but we haven't really seen a lot of Hellion Banshee since Wings of Liberty. It's been gone.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me because I don't think it's any weaker now. I think it's more just Terrans are in such a rush to get out their Widow Mines and your upgraded Marines and your medevacs and have fun with those. But Scarlett, very attentive. Her Overlord did spot that, and so she's ready with that forward Spore Crawler we talked about. There's also a Spore Crawler in the main, Spore Crawler in the natural, and I assume there may be another one being built in a 3rd once that completes.
Oh, I like this control out of BratOk, though. The Queen's going to get transfused as well. Doesn't lose any Hellions yet, though. And, the Hellions, they're not exactly durable units. They've only got 90 health, and the Spine Crawler on these Queens will keep them at bay, but the more he has alive, the more damage he's going to be able to do before they inevitably die. And the really scary thing for Scarlett, too, is despite this nice sort of pathway she set up for herself with the spine crawler guarding, she can't really transfer drones right now. And, oh, going to try and get on top of the Lings, but sent back immediately. Denied.
Meanwhile, Banshee does get 6 kills into main before second Spore Core reveals it, and it's finished off by the Queen. It's hard to tell how many kills you need if you invest in Cloak. Of course, that is a more significant investment than just the Banshee. And with that Banshee dead, it's going to really hurt BratOk's ability to actually kill these Queens that are out in the middle of the map.
You know, I'm a little surprised too. BratOk has seen that there are 3 Queens off of creep, and I think Scarlett was trying to bait him to run up to that natural because the Lings were waiting at the top, and there's not a lot of room for them to run by, and that could have been very dangerous. So really good that he didn't fall for that bait.
He has a lot of Hellions and a secondary Banshee's coming in here to support. This could be enough units that if those Queens aren't careful, they overextend a bit, they could be taken out.
Yeah, I mean, a Banshee already beats out the Queen 1-on-1. You pair it with like 10 Hellions, that fight's going to be a little more one-sided, but 3 drones are all that are here at the third base. Not going to lose too much, but still going to lose some units for free here.
And never want to give up anything for free, of course. Because BratOk is investing into Cloak Banshees, he's investing in a lot of extra Hellions. It does mean he's going to fall behind in upgrades. I mean, see, Scarlett is already at 1-1. She started 2-2, and BratOk hasn't even built any E-base yet. He hasn't even built a 3rd command center yet. He's actually going to dedicate it to pretty much what's going to be a 2-base all-in given the upgrade and economic differential.
Yeah, and he's kind of on the clock here, too, with that Spire coming out. He's got very little anti-air. I mean, Marines are cool, but where are they but at home? This fight in the middle of the map is going to rage on, and the Lings are going to be sent back immediately. But with some nice transfuses, Scarlett does not lose any of those Queens.
But now BratOk's reinforcing with more and more Marines. Of course, Stimpak is done. Combat Shield is about halfway done, but he's making Marines 9 at a time. And this is off of 2 bases, so he is going to have a ton of Marine reinforcements. Of course, Scarlett knows there's no 3rd base. She has a speed lane there, and she's getting Baning Speed. Once Baning Speed completes, it's going to be very hard for BratOk to make this push work, considering he has no medevacs, no way to evacuate Marines from Banings.
Yeah, he's going to need the best spreading in the world, or at least the Hellions will have to soak a lot of these hits. And looks like they will take those first 4 Banelings out. And now there's none left. 3 morphing into the top of the ramp. Marines, though, are just going to push in so strong. And as long as BratOk does not clump, he's got the SCVs to soak those hits. He's going to push right on in here and try and punish Scarlett. More Banelings coming in out of desperation. Accidentally actually detonate on one of the Queens, but the Baneling nest is going to get taken out before speed completes. Trying to transfuse it desperately is Scarlett, but looks like it is going to fall. And BratOk will take a huge lead in this engagement.
Oh, he continues to push in forward as the Evos die. The Brilliants do little damage. Here come in the Banings, trying to get great connections with the Marines.
Now the Mutalisks in the sky, though, are still being a very big problem. The Banshees want to just focus down the Banelings, but can't do it for free. There's not a lot of Mutalisks, though, and there's still a lot of Marines, as you stated, 9 at a time coming across the field, and this natural base is in ruins. Scarlett does not have any capability to make Banelings, and Zerglings alone will not stop this push.
Of course, maybe if she was able to get 2-2 in time, that'd help, but at 1-1, the drones are being pulled, and they're being massacred.
They are, but actually the Mutalisks are still standing, which is a little bit funny to see because it's only 4 Mutalisks, and because of this, the Marines, they're actually going to get wiped out, and this is going to be so annoying for BratOk because those 4 Mutalisks, they're not going to shut down the Marine reinforcements, but if she sends those across the field, there's no turrets at home. BratOk has almost no SCVs to begin with. Killing a couple more could be devastating.
BratOk is definitely fully committed as he continues to reinforce his Marines. He does have both Stim and Combat Shield, but he's fine with 0-0 Marines against 1-1 Speedlings. So the Speedlings are going to do better against the Marines than you would expect. Of course, there is no Baby Nest, so if the Marines get they get enough numbers, their safety numbers, and of course as they scale up, it favors them against Speedlings. But if he waits too long, that Baby Nest will complete, and all it takes is a couple Banings with this amount of creep spread. I mean, he has to fight on creep, and that's not what you want to do against Banings.
Yeah, Banelings with speed, of course, on creep outrun Stim Marines, but they're not going to have that speed advantage. But still, even without the, oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called. Centrifugal hooks, there you go. They're still going to move fast as heck, and these Marines are going to have a hard time dodging past this. But, oh, these Queens have been so good to Scarlett this whole game. These transfuses have been so important, but slamming into the wall of Marines are those Zerglings. The Mutalisks in the sky have started to actually increase their number quite significantly, and without medevacs, BratOk's actually having a lot of trouble dealing with this.
Yeah, the Speedlings is tank enough for Munis to kill many of their Marines. Now more reinforcements from BratOk, but Scarlett has so many units coming in to reinforce this, and unit count is absolutely insane, and this push is going to be stomped.
Good game is called.
Wow. You know, it looked dicey there for a bit there. I thought Scarlett was in trouble, but she was able to keep reinforcing with enough Speedlings, and you know, even though it's not the ideal unit, with the upgrade advantage and with enough numerical advantage, I mean, that's what Zerg does. They overrun their opponent, right?
As soon as he stormed into the natural, I also thought it was gonna get dicey. But man, actually, when's the last time you saw Mutalisk so confidently engage into Marines with Stim?
Yeah, that doesn't happen too often. I was actually surprised as Mutalisk endured as well as they did, and I think a part of it was because she always noticed their life, and she knows they can regenerate. So they take a little bit of damage, and then she pulls back to the more speedings tank, and then just getting the maximum amount of regeneration out of those Mutalisks. Of course, the Queens were tanking so much damage as well throughout that. They were really the heroes of that defense, I think.
Well, we don't know the next player, but apparently swapping to EU anyway, so...
Going back and forth, so I guess it's just oscillating servers to keep it as fair as possible. Of course, Scarlett has taken down 2 players now from Empire NSA Alliance team. Well, not the team Alliance, but Alliance between Empire and NSA forming that team there. So that's going to put Acer up 2-0. Can Empire strike back? Game 3 coming up next.